work, one whole day to play. Come on, everybody, wear your roller skates today. It's Saturday, 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 it's Saturday, Saturday, it's Saturday, Saturday, it's Saturday, yeah.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Career Exploration Saturday. I'm your host, Ebony Tyler. I have real conversations with real people about real jobs. So let's give a shout out to our friends who are joining us from the podcast world and who are new to Career Exploration Saturday. Welcome. Who would have thought 20 weeks ago that we would be on Spotify? Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be opening our conversations up to more people around the world. All right. So this week, my guest is Wendell Gray II. Wendell is a contemporary dance artist and choreographer. He's based in Brooklyn. He most recently was part of Work Up 6.0 and Solo for Solo at Gibney. He has also shown his work at the University of Arts Movement Research at the Judson Church. He's also shown his work at the Center for Performance Research, Ches Bushwick, La Mama Galleria, Capios, ACE Awards, and Bronx Academy of Arts and Dance. He has also been a guest teacher at Broadway Dance Center and Mark Morris Dance Center. Wendell is a Bachelor's of Fine Arts graduate from the University of Arts under the direction of Donna Faye Burchell, and he was raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I really enjoyed my conversation with Wendell, learning about how to make a career in dance. All right, let's jump right into our conversation. Hello, Wendell.
Hi.
Welcome to Career Exploration Saturday. We are so glad to have you here today.
I'm happy to be here. Happy to answer some questions.
So I like to start all the conversations, tell us who you were at 16. Did you have it all together? Did you know that, that you definitely wanted to be a dancer?
At 16 is like the age where I really figured it out. It was really because of an opportunity I had. I had gotten this scholarship like right before I turned 16 to go to this summer dance competition in New York. So I was really excited about it, and I ended up going, and it was the first time that I had been around dancers from other places, mainly in the US. So it was a lot of people from like Arizona, Texas, New York, California, like all around. And I was so overwhelmed by all the talent that it was like initially the moment where I was like, this is definitely what I want to do. With the rest of my life, because it just really made me happy. Now, I wasn't like amazing at it, and I wasn't that great, so I had a lot of work to do, but 16 was the age where I figured that out.
Now, prior to 16, were you exposed to the arts? Is that what like led you into dance?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a blessing, like everything that I've gotten to experience, because my mom is a drama teacher. And actually when we moved to Atlanta, right when I think I just turned 6 years old, she had gotten a job as a drama teacher at a performing arts elementary school, which, I mean, I don't even hear of much today. So, once she got that job, they said, oh, you have a son, so he can come to the school too. And when I got there, that's when I was exposed to not only dance, but music, that's instruments and vocal music, visual art, drama, media. There are just all these things that are very artistic. And from a young age, I think I made it clear, like, I didn't really want to play any sports, not at the time, but I always like to be creative. So that environment did foster me through something that I really like, something that I stayed dedicated to, and that I wanted to do it in high school. So yeah, leading up to that moment, I always knew I wanted to do something artistic, but after that moment, I was like, dance is the one.
And you went to a performing arts high school?
Yeah, performing arts high school too. With those, you do have to audition. At my school, you have to have like above a 3.0. So there are all these components, and my elementary school and high school were connected, but it's not a guarantee that you'll get into it at all. So when I went to high school, I mainly focused on dance and vocal music. And I was really like singing most of the time in high school, but then around 16 is when I was like, I think I want to dance though.
And like, what's your genre? Are you like?
As far as dance, I mean, growing up, you train in a lot,
Yeah.
or most dancers do. I trained in ballet, I trained jazz, I trained in modern dance. And modern dance is the one that I focus on the most currently.
Mm-hmm.
Like modern dance and contemporary meaning really anything that creatively comes from this time. You see it a lot with you see contemporary everywhere, like even with music, you notice like everyone's sampling, or people are always making references to the past. And somewhat that's contemporary dance. It's like sampling all of these different things that you really like to culminate something that like feels different, feels new, and feels like of now. So that's what I'm mainly involved with.
And like, what was it like, or even now, like, what's it like being a Black man in dance, and especially in ballet?
Yeah. I'm really lucky because I grew up in the environment where my parents were supportive of that. And I did, you come to heads with different moments in life, especially like being Black, growing up in the South. And just like figuring out who I was at a young age. There's a lot of, there are a lot of questions, and there are a lot of roles about like, oh, a man should do this, a man should do that. But I knew that it really made me happy. And that's something that like I've always tried to prioritize in my own life, is doing things that make me feel good. So when you do that, sometimes you get surrounded by people that make that okay too. So sometimes I've had somewhat of a bubble, but these days you find so many other people. Like since I moved to New York, and even growing up in dance, I've come across so many Black male dancers. And we share a lot of experiences and similarities, but it's great to know that like it's becoming more common.
I love that your parents were very supportive of this, because one of the questions I had was, how would you, let's say that there's a kid who really enjoys dancing, but their parent maybe doesn't see it as a viable profession, because you are not only just a dancer, you are a choreographer, which means that you like produce dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we like get parents to get behind this if they're not really behind this? What would you like, how would you, get them to see it from your point of view?
Well, I mean, dance is a business itself, and there's so many outlets to go through if it's something that you want to focus on. It's not something where, everyone's going to hand you everything that you need in life. It's not one of those things where you would instantly get a job that covers all these things that you need. You may, it does come about, but I think if it's something you want to do, I think you want to keep exploring it and find and dissect the ways in which you love it. So like there's so many different kinds of dances. What styles do you like? What things make your body happy? And what other ways do you like to support dance? Maybe you want to, help someone else produce their work. Maybe you do want to be a choreographer, or maybe you just want to be a dancer. Because even though they're together a lot, they're totally separate things. So there are a lot of ends to dance. Yeah. It really is just about also taking that chance. It's one of those things where like, a lot of people may tell you no, or it's not going to be the best, but you just have to like, you have to weigh your happiness on that. Like, are you willing to be, go for the jugular and go for your dreams? But also, doing well along the way so that anything can come your way.
You said happy several times. And I think that's interesting, because a lot of people that I come across, they don't really express happiness and joy in their work. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited that you are in a field that brings you joy, especially in this time where we are right now in history, where in the world where joy is kind of like sucked from us in all different ways. So I'm wondering, how did you like make your way into college, right? And was it a joyful experience being a dancer in college and studying? What do you have? A bachelor's in fine arts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what was that experience like?
That was incredible because that was the first time in my life that pretty much everything else got cut out, but me focusing on like dance. I mean, in high school, I was also trying to juggle a lot of different things because I'd be like, oh, maybe I want to do this, maybe I want to do that. A lot of high schoolers go through this because you don't know what you want to focus on. So my time would be split and I couldn't always focus on certain things. Also, you're worried about, socialness a little bit more. And sometimes you get to the end of high school and you're like, oh, like what else is going to happen? But college it was a great opportunity to get away and experience like independence, but also a great way for me to become more open-minded about what it is that I was deciding to do, which may be a lot of, no matter what you study, you may go in and you're like, yeah, I'm going to be this and this is what I'm going to do. But you're going to get so deep into that thing that it's going to open up a lot of other questions and possibilities for yourself. So I went to University of the Arts in Philadelphia. It's an arts college, all arts majors, everything you could think of in every category you could think of. And I wanted to go somewhere that really did respect the arts. I wanted to go somewhere where I knew people had gone there. And I had some like older mentors somewhat that also went to the school. So I was like, okay, I trust it. And you have to audition for these schools. And when I went to the audition, I felt an instant connection that once I went, the teachers and the director were not going to stop at just the physical with me and with dance. They were going to open me up to a lot of other things. So yeah, I truly loved the experience because it was a time for me to just focus on that and be as open-minded as I can be, which I hope for all college students, really.
So what are like some of the classes that one would take if you're getting a degree in fine arts?
Well, if you're doing something like dance, we have these classes called studio practices, which are basically like, you take your ballet classes, you take your modern classes, modern being Horton technique, Graham technique, Lamone. At our school, you also have to take a jazz class, and then you also have to take like somewhat of a hip hop class. And there are a bunch of electives that you can take. So you have to take your like regular practice dance classes, and then we have like a dance history class. There's a contemporary art practices class where you talk about like just contemporary art in general, like everything that's coming up in the world, because all the artists are really connected.
Okay.
You have choreography classes where you learn how to make your own stuff or you can experiment. And we also have improvisation classes, which improvisation is just a way to like, move off the top of your head, finding ways to access your body in the moment in real time. Classes like that, and they get like very esoteric like the higher you get in the years. But it's great because dance to be respected not only as something that complements other things. We see it in like music videos all the time, we see it in movies, and we always think like, oh yeah, dance is that thing to help other things. But when you like can focus on dance and be like, oh no, like itself is a big thing that doesn't necessarily need like a huge artist name behind it or anything else, it just really broadens it up.
Wow. I never thought of that as dance being a complement to something else, and that it could stand out on its own. So I like that. So tell us, what's it like being a choreographer? How do you get people to see your vision and then execute it?
There's so many ways to do it. I think, I had a lot of opportunities growing up because I went to a studio that did a lot of dances, and somehow they let me do a piece when I actually turned 16. I did a piece while I was there that went pretty well. And kind of since then they gave me the opportunity to do a piece so I could like practice my skills, and people really enjoyed it. It's also something I always really love to do. And before I even did it, I would just imagine it. I would listen to music, sit in my room and be like, oh, what if this happened? What if this happened? So it kind of started there. And then when I went to school, the school was very open in terms of like just letting the students take the wheel. So they'd be like, okay, you can do a dance that's like 5 minutes. You can have this many people. And I would take that and I would just run. And I'd be very inspired by musicality. I'd be very inspired by space, traffic, like how people move through one another. And those things kind of just like stay with me. The interesting thing is now it's always been something I love to do for fun, and now it's also my job. So it's like the older you get, sometimes it gets harder to access the naturalness of it, but
okay.
And it's also just such a learning thing because you're always taking in so much information. But I think with anybody who choreographs, like they feel it innately, like you just want to get up and move, or you want to see something, or you hear some music and you want to dance to it. So it's always been a thing. It feels like visual art for me sometimes, and I'm not good at visual art, but like having a blank canvas and then being able to design it. It's just that the structures are ephemeral; they disappear. But the thing is that we hope that those things last in the person's brain. We hope that they think about them. We hope that they really felt something in the moment.
So what's your what's your regiment like, right? Like how do you prepare? What's your because dance is very physical. So like how do you keep your body in shape?
Yeah, I mean, it gets tough. And if we're talking like, pre-quarantine, post-quarantine, two different stories. But you do want to keep up with your body. It's not that it even needs to look like any specific type of way. It depends on what kind of job you have, like, because there's in dance, I mean, it's not just split in these two ways, but there's like the commercial world, which is more about like videos, TV, doing tours, and then there's the concert world, which is more focused on like stage, stage performances and things like that. So what people want from your body depends on the job that you have, and also depends on yourself. But me personally, I like to work out when I can, usually in the mornings, just to start off my day. I like to take in I have like a mixed diet. Like I do eat meat, but like always having something green in the day. And I personally like a physical practice. Like I like to dance every day, whether it's in my room or whether I go to the studio. And now during the COVID era, I do it a lot outside, which is, that's a whole practice in itself, because now I'm a part of the world. People are looking at me and it's like a lot, but it's just the times that we're in.
Right.
So, I mean, really, that's my regimen. I like to really sweat. And I haven't been in a gym in a long time because of everything going on. I do some home workouts, but it definitely is different. But I do like to sweat to keep up the stamina.
So what exactly is your job?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a freelancer. I'm a freelance dancer. So I work, let me see, I'm like pre-COVID, post-COVID. I'm working with roughly 4 choreographers at the moment, all in different times. And we work like for a certain amount of like weeks or months together, and then we come back to each other. So I've basically been doing that roughly since I moved to the city. I also work at an arts organization where I'm an artist in residence manager, where this is a space where I was an artist in residence once, and I got some free studio space. And the cycle happens about 3 times a year. So now I'm the manager of that program, and I help choose the artist and just give space for them to be there. So those have been my main jobs.
And what
this is also...
I'm sorry. No, you go ahead.
There are a lot of different ways to do it in dance, because some people aren't in actual dance companies, which are more like, you work 5 days a week, you work for these certain amount of hours, and you always go on tour. And that's always an option too. It's just not as many dance companies these days with everything going on. And then there's also the commercial route, which is still freelance, but then you're more so like working with artists. And then there's a Broadway route where some people are, in Broadway shows for months, maybe years.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it.
What exactly is the residency?
Oh, like a residency is like it's usually a period of time that they give an artist. They give them space. For us, it's like studio space. They're like, okay, you can have 100 hours over the course of 3 months. So you go in and it's just free space for you to work, basically. And it usually comes with a stipend. If you need to buy extra things, or if you just need to live, or if you have a collaborator, like another dancer, or if you want to work with a musician or something.
And those
Mhm.
opportunities, are they plentiful? Are they few and far between? Are they very competitive?
Oh, all of them, all of it. Everyone has to do an application, and applications get hard because, especially with dance, like you're making the thing and you're discovering the thing while it's coming up. Pieces, especially, they feel like kids to me, almost like you just do what you feel in the moment and then you let it reflect back to you. So it's hard to write about that always, in order to get something. But yes, they're very competitive application process kind. So like there's some that are way longer, there's some that give way more funding, and then there's some that are shorter and smaller. But it all depends on what you really want. So the specific one that I got with the Jonah Booker Arts Foundation, that's the one that I work for. They give you 3 months of space for 75 hours, I think. So over the course of the 3 months, you can rent out as much space as you want. Well,
Wow.
that's in 75 hours.
And now, as the manager now of that, it's your job to for you to select the artist.
Well, I don't really do that alone. I always select a panel so it can not be, just my point of view. So
Right.
I'll get a panel and I'll sit on the panel, I'll listen to what everyone has to say, and I'll put in my opinion as well. And then it changes every year. So then we'll come up with the artists that get it. And it's usually 5 each cycle.
Wow.
Mhm.
Who knew that dance was that there was so many different opportunities to be a dancer and to be a
Yeah.
choreographer.
It's New York as well. I think the city is so ingrained in the arts that there are just so many people that are trying new things, willing, and a lot of things that have been there for a long time. But it's not like that in every city.
So how has your job changed in COVID? How has things changed for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, the day that it was declared like a national emergency, I had a show. It was a show that I had been working on, since about December, I believe.
Mm.
Like rehearsals, and the day of is when, yeah, it was an emergency. It was the day that they shut Broadway down, and we did end up having the show, but I mean the mood of the city and just like the effect of everything happening really put a damper on everything. I am glad that we get to perform it once, but after that, I had another performance with a choreographer named Pablo Zuskiak. It
Mhm.
was in April. It got postponed. Any like residency period that I had with people, it got postponed. Um, Everything was delayed.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it does put you in a certain mood. And it can put you in a really sad place. But a few of the choreographers that I work with, they have continued to find ways to either work over Zoom or do like remote work, and then we meet back up and show everybody what we've been doing. So there are efforts in that way, but the arts are really struggling. It's a hard time,
Yeah.
especially for people who are involved with live performance.
Hmm.
Um, it is a very sucky time.
Well, hopefully we will get things back, that will get the Rona under control so that people can resume their livelihood because it's really tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it really is. We so much coming from the top, from the presidency,
Yeah.
um, and also the arts not being deemed as essential is a big problem. We know we don't want to put anybody's life at risk, coming to see a show, but it does play a huge role in just the cycle of the world and other people's experiences and happiness. So yeah, really hoping that we'll make it through, and we will, because art in general is always about that limitations, problems. It's like the new generation that comes in, molds it and finds a way. So we'll get through it.
Yeah, and then just Black people in general, we're super resilient, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been through everything.
Everything.
Everything. I mean, we will get through this.
So, Wendell, how can we support your work? How can we follow you? How can we, I don't know, see some of your work? Oh, I'm going to Wendell sent a very nice highlight reel, and I'm going to include it.
Oh yeah, please do. I have a reel, and that reel is connected to my Vimeo page where there are some excerpts of some pieces if you want to see some more of what I do. I also have a website that is thatguywin.com where there's some more information. My Instagram is also thatguywin, and Win is W-E-N, short for Wendell, me. Yes, the next thing I'm showing, I'm working on a piece right now that's going to premiere online sometime in November, I believe towards the end of November. I have to give you an update on that. But it's with a company called Michi Yaya, and they're an all-women dance company based here in Brooklyn, run by Anya and Mitsuko, wonderful dancers and choreographers that I know. Yeah, that's what we've been working on through Zoom, also outside. So I'll have to be presenting that soon. And that'll probably be on my Instagram and my website as well once it happens.
Oh, all right. So you know what? Wendell, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. It went by so fast.
Thank you so much, Wendell, and welcome to the Liberated Success family. So, folks, did you enjoy Wendell's choreography reel? Wasn't that cool of him to send so we could see his work and see exactly, you know, how he makes his money? I thought that was pretty cool of him to send. All right, so some takeaways for me were that with early exposure and supportive parents, sky is the limit in pursuing a career in your passion. Also, dance is not a complement art. It stands alone. And 3, prioritize the things that make you happy. Thank you so much, Wendell. And listen, folks, please support his work. Next Sunday, November 22nd, Wendell has his digital dance premiere. You can get the tickets in his bio, and he's tagged in this video. Okay, so please support his work. All right, so some quick updates. We completed our first fall webinar series. And if you missed it, you should subscribe to our Patreon channel because that is where you're going to find exclusive career development content, resources, and if you are subscribed as a at $15 a month, you will get a chance to book a time slot with me once a month for career development coaching for your young person. Now remember, our target audience is 14 to 24. So if you've got some struggling high school students who don't know what to do when they finish high school, I'm your girl. If you got some college students that are, not really sure what to do, maybe having a difficult time, prioritizing college. This is this virtual world. There, advisors aren't that accessible. I'm your girl. Also, if you got some young people who are not working, not really sure what to do, can't make the next step, need some encouragement, you guessed it, I'm your girl. All right, so that's $15 a month on our Patreon channel. And what we're doing is we want to make career counseling, career coaching accessible to our community. So $15 a month gets you resources and a counseling session. Okay, you just have to subscribe for the monthly membership. All right, I'm not going to hold you much longer, but thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Show us some love with a donation. Remember, all of Liberated Success programming is supported by donations from our community. It's the first link in the bio. It's the first comment on Facebook. That's where you're going to find all the links for all the things that I mentioned. All right, thank you for watching to the end. And you know what? I really feel that we did our part on this group project called voting. Now we need to just get this Rona thing under control. So you know what? We're going to save ourselves. Wear your mask, wash your hands, physically distance, and all Black Lives Matter. All right, see you next week. Bye.
One whole day to play. Come on, everybody, play your